All right, for the 12 of you watching, let's talk about the Truck Series race at Bristol on Thursday. Talking about the guys I like, talking about the guys I don't like. Let's talk about Sam Mayer first. So, and I'll bring the grading up in a minute. But let's talk about Sam Mayer first, starting pretty much dead last this week, 39th place. When we look back at last year's race that Sam Mayer did, he started 17th. He led 30 laps, ended up winning the race. Took him about the whole race to get up there into first place. Obviously, we had some yellows towards the end of the race that kind of helped him get there. Specifically, the yellow on lap 157 mainly helped him really catch up to the leader because it was Brett Moffitt for the most of it. Brett Moffitt was dominating from lap 114 to 170, and then Sam Mayer took over on 171, and it was basically on that restart late in the race. If we don't get that yellow late, I don't think Sam gets out there, and I don't think he wins the race. But when we look at last year's race, he started halfway through the field, had a fast car, ran the GMS number 24 car. This week he's in the 32 car, which we've seen the ARCA legend himself, the guy I've been praising left and right, Brett Holmes, in the number 32 car, the Holmes Chevrolet, coming out of the Holmes stable. It's basically a GMS truck. However, we've seen issues with it before. Outside of that, we've seen Sam Mayer run this truck 3 times this year. We've seen him finish 9th at Richmond this year. He finished 6th at Austin this year, and he finished 9th at Watkins Glen. Now, this truck did not have the speed that the GMS trucks have had this year. It's been on par with, a top 10 car, but it hasn't been the GMS speed that we've come to know and see. There's a chance that Sam Mayer comes in to be very popular. Now, if we give Sam, let's just go ahead and give Sam, I am green eggs and ham. Let's give him 30 place differential points. Oops, wrong one. Let's give him 30 place differential points. What does that give us? Around 62 points. It's going to be a 5.2 value. Let's move him up. Let's give him 34 place differential points, somewhere around 70, right? So that's going to be 5.8. And so Sam can get value. He just needs a top 10 to hit value. I'm not concerned about that. My main concern is if he ends up getting stuck around 7th, 8th, or 6th, and there's somebody who actually does walk away with this race, or there's other place differential plays that get to the lead that start, say, in the 20s, like we saw last year with Sam Mayer. So Chase Purdy could be a contender for that. Tyler Ankrum, Josh Berry, even Parker Kligerman starting 14th, Drew Dollar, Zane Smith, and then you got the guys up in the front to where you have Sheldon Creed starting first. You got John Hernimacek starting second. You got Todd Gilliland and Matt Kraft. And that's 10 cars that I think are going to compete for the top 10. And so if that is the case, you kind of see Sam get stuck around running 11th and 10th. If that's the case, a 5 value, even a 4.9 might be too much to pay for Sam this weekend, especially if he doesn't lead any laps or gets fast laps, because I would argue this is a more stacked field than it was last year. Obviously, last year you had Moffitt, Kligerman, Enfinger, Smith. You had Creed in there as well. I'm pretty sure you had Chastain running as well. But the back half of the field didn't have anybody to note. Austin Hill got trapped a couple laps down. Outside of that, I think last year's field was a easier field, despite the fact it mainly had the same type of guys. Just I think it was a weaker field for Sam Mayer. There's a lot of things pointing to him, like I said, just getting stuck running 11th tomorrow evening. As we continue on, the guys that I do like, I guess we're going to start from the top, kind of work our way down. I like Sheldon Creed and I like John Hernimacek both evenly. If I have to lean one way, let me think. They're probably going to... Have they put the PJ1 down? Let's see. It's Wednesday. Everybody's... losing their mind over the schedule, which if you guys want me to do a cruise control over that, I will. But I haven't seen any news on Bristol. Any actual news is... wait a minute. Bristol Dirt will be primetime Easter Sunday. Didn't we always get Easter off? Oh, man, the religious people are going to be losing their mind over them racing on Easter Sunday, even if it's prime time. Haven't seen anything related to the PJ1, so let's go ahead and let's look here. Bristol, baby. Am I blocked by Bristol? I hope I'm not. Bristol Motor Speedway has not blocked me. Thank you very much. Why is everything running so slow today? I haven't seen any pictures of the track. I'm assuming they're going to be putting the PJ1 down on the outside. If that is the case, I imagine that's going to hurt John Hunter Nemechek off the start just because it's going to be cold. It takes a while to get that temperature in the PJ1. That's my main concern. Obviously, John Hunter has a way more consistent track history here. And this is a place where I do want to look at track history. It's a place where I do want to look at just basically the short track programs that they've brought to the track this year. And John Hunter Nemechek is the better guy right now. Looking at how he's ran at the short tracks this year, obviously he ran into a bit of trouble at Gateway. They didn't bring the car that they meant to, or not that they meant to, but they whiffed on the setup. And so going to Sheldon Creed, I think Creed is actually my favorite play here. Between Sheldon Creed and John Hunter Nemechek. I think Sheldon's going to have the advantage on the inside. The outside lane is not going to do, at least in my mind, thinking of the cold PJ1, I just don't think it's going to work. I think John Hunter Nemechek gets stuck in the outside lane. I think Creed can run away on the restart unless he spins his tires. And I think it should be Creed for a while. Outside that, I'm not too high on Crafton. I'm not too high on Gilliland in terms of DFS. I think those guys are going to be losing a couple positions. Same thing with Friesen, although we have seen Friesen run well at Gateway and Darlington as of late. I'm concerned. Friesen, fourth and third last two races, tracks that I think are good. Maybe not Darlington extended. Gateway isn't necessarily a spitting image of Bristol. Man, 8,200 is a little expensive for Creed. I'm really concerned about Friesen. My bad. I'm really concerned about Creed leading a majority of the race, and then the cheaper place differential plays in the 7K kind of going through. So I would actually much rather play Hocevar over Smith. I think Hocevar is going to be a slam dunk play this week, and 7,600 for a guy that I think is going to compete for I think he's going to compete for a top 5 in and out of this race. I like Hocevar, even if I project him to finish around 9th. I like Hocevar a ton. Zane Smith, give him a couple place differential points. Same thing with Austin Hill, but I don't think it's enough, man. Let's see. This is most likely going to be a 200 lap. Is this a 200 lap race or a 250 lap race? Let's see how long it takes to find out on NASCAR.com. Let's look. Because I think it's going to be 200 no matter what happens here. But I do just want to check really quick. Where we at, buddy boys? Come on, NASCAR.com. Show me. What are we at? Are we at 200 laps? I'm pretty sure we're at 200 laps. Come on now. Help me out. Yeah, 200 laps. So, oh man, this race is going to go by fast. And these laps are going to click off fast. Just like Richmond, man. You know, if somebody has the lead for 5 minutes, that's a crap ton of fast laps and laps led points. And so I'm very hesitant to pay up for place differential. I'm even hesitant to play up for Parker Kligerman. Man, I want to play Parker so bad. I just don't know if he can pay it off. I'd actually... Because there's a chance that Sam Mayer is probably the highest scoring driver outside of the lap leader in the 10K range. And so, you know, Kligerman compared to Mayer, if that car doesn't mess up, Kligerman's probably going to finish 10th. Sam Mayer's probably going to finish 11th. I'd much rather play Sam Mayer. And so you kind of have to keep... I think it's going to be Sam Mayer and then one of the 10K guys right now. I haven't finished the projections, but I'll probably finish them shortly after this video, and the PDF will be up tonight on my Patreon. If you want to support me, go to my Patreon, or you can send me some money on PayPal if I've helped you out in any way this year so far. I do like Austin Wayne Self. Austin Wayne Self is popping up as a value for me. Same thing with Chase Purdy. Purdy, I'm worried about wrecking just because he has a tendency to wreck more than he doesn't. But when you look at him running the 12th fastest car at Gateway and you're seeing what he's bringing to the track, I like Chase Purdy. I like Austin Wayne Self a ton. And it makes a lot of sense to me that if you're going to pay up for Creed or John Hunter Nemechek with Sam Mayer, you're most likely going to be using Austin Wayne Self or Chase Purdy. I like Josh Berry here. Maybe I don't like him as much as I originally thought. I'm concerned Josh gets stuck around running 12th. I'd actually much rather play Anchor. My bad. Let me take that away. I don't prefer Berry. It'd probably be a B for me when I do my rankings in a minute, but I'm really concerned about Barry getting trapped, running 11th or 12th this week. And I think there's a chance we end up having a lot of wrecks this race. Didn't necessarily see it last year when Sam won. We only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total cautions, 2 including the stages. So first wreck was on lap 8. Next one was lap 83. Next one was 157. If that's the case, I just want the guy who's going to be leading under yellow. I like Purdy. I like Ankrum. Colby Howard in the 9 car, you kind of heard me talk about in my in episode 217 that I just recorded. He's in the 9 car, correct? So short kind of summary here. I think that 9 car is good. I just think it's been Cody Roball who has been performing extremely poor in it. We've seen Colby, obviously, he spun out early in Darlington. Could have easily DNF'd at that race, but he ended up finishing 13th, had the 17th fastest car. Colby Howard for 6,300 makes a lot of sense for me. My main concern is him getting in a wreck, but everybody in here can get in a wreck. I like Colby Howard. I actually like him over Tanner Gray. I think these guys are very similar. Danny Bone, too cheap, $5,000. Can gain a couple positions here. Main concern is his track history of finishing 25th here in this car. I don't mind it. $5,000 could be worse. I'd much rather go to him over Chris Wright. Chris Wright's probably going to wreck. Lawless Allen is most likely going to run into issues. Ryan Truex, starting 26, had a mechanical issue last weekend, or the previous race was the chalk value. And there's a chance that this race performs very similar to Darlington, to where a lot of the value plays just end up crashing. If you look at the Truck Series in terms of value plays, there's most likely a chance that if there's 5 value plays, 4 of them are going to run into issues. Then there's even a higher chance, or maybe not a higher chance, but there's a chance that we see all the values end up running into an issue with this race just because it's so fast. You're going to get lapped so quickly, trapped lap down so quickly, and there's so little room for error. I'd actually most rather just paint up and kind of stay in the 6K range in this race, similar to what kind of worked at Darlington. And not because it worked at Darlington, just because that's how I think this is going to work out. Because Truex is really the only guy down here that I think can gain position. Spencer Boyd, I don't see him doing much of anything. I don't see Josh Reaume doing much of anything. Dawson Cram, sure, he might end up running decent. When we look at his gateway numbers, actually, 28th fastest car at Gateway ended up coming around 30th pace. That's what I'm concerned about. Like, even the 29th fastest car at Richmond and him finishing 25th at Richmond, that's not going to get it done. Doug Colby is probably the guy I'm going to focus on back here the most. He's a Whelen Modified veteran. He's not necessarily one of the guys who's been running the Whelen Modifieds a couple last years. Then he gets a call to run a Truck Series race. He's been in that series for over 15 years at this point. A veteran driver at a racetrack that I think is going to race very similar to how the Whelen Modifieds race. And I like Doug Colby a lot. $6,900 in a GMS truck, I think can be argued very similar to the Sam Mayer play last year. I think Doug is going to run in top 5 or run top 15 this entire race, and so I'd much rather hit Doug and kind of stay there than be at other places. Timmy Hill is another guy I want to hit as well. I think Timmy Hill's going to perform well here. When we look back at his previous races, 21st and 17th in his own truck, that's good to see. He hasn't ran a short track race this year so far. If you want to count Nashville, sure. I don't necessarily want to lean on that a ton. But I like Timmy Hill here. A lot of his good finishes, Daytona Road Course and Darlington, have come in Wreckfest late in the race. Finished 21st at Richmond. I think 10 place differential play. What is that? 32nd. Let's look. 32nd. Let's give him 11 place differential points. That's going to be around 31 points. That's 4.2. He's going to have to do a lot more than that. Maybe not like him as much as I want to. What's he? Give him 15 place differential points. So he needs to pass probably 15 cars, 14 cars. That's going to round him out to being around, what is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's a top 20 finish. I think he can do it. Or top 19, inside the top 20. I think he can do it. Going to need some help. After doing some projections right there for Timmy Hill, I like Timmy Hill if we end up having a lot of cautions. If it stays green, I'm concerned he'll get trapped running around 22nd to 23rd. Keep that in mind. Not going to Howie. Clay Greenfield, cheaper than Hill. Has to do very similar Very similar track history here. If I give Greenfield, let's say, let's give him 12 place differential points. That's 21.45. I think Greenfield and Hill are very similar plays. I think I'd much rather I'd actually much rather play Hill and Greenfield than putting Lawless Allen, than putting Chris Wright, than putting Spencer Boyd. If you can get two of these guys in there, or if you can mainly stay in the 6K range, instead of going down to the 5 and 4K outside of the guys that I told you that I like, I think that's what you should do. Taylor Gray, not going to go there, too expensive. I think he's going to cause a wreck. Jennifer Joe Cobb, not going to do it. Corey Roper, not going to do it. CJ McLaughlin, not going to do it. Sam Mayer, like I said, I think he needs to be considered. I think he can be a top 4 scorer. And the more I look at this field, I think that's the way to go. Maybe doing 2 10K guys or 1 10K guy and Sam Mayer if Sam ends up working out. And staying in the 6K range. If Sam Mayer fails, or if he doesn't hit value, then it's probably going to be a 2-dominator type of lineup. It might even be a 2-dominator type of lineup, depending on who leads with Sam Mayer. But if Sam fails, then it's most likely going to be either Kligerman working his way in there or the second dominator, and you might not need 2 10K guys. And you might just want to play the safer play. So let's kind of just go ahead and change this, and I'll start grading people here. So I like Creed. I'm going to put John Nemechek as a B. I think he's an A, but I'm just showing this to show where I prefer to go here. Probably not going to do Todd Gillen. Probably not going to go to Friesen. Probably not going to go to Crafton either. And Fingers probably going to be on the fringe if my projections end up putting him in the lineup. Same thing with Smith. Sure, I like Hocevar. I like Smith to an extent. A lot of this will depend on my final projections if they work their way in. I like Drew Dollar and Johnny Sauter. I'm worried about Kligerman being outscored by Sam Mayer. Derek Krause not going to do it. Don't mind Austin Wayne Self. Austin Wayne Self and Chase Purdy might be the 2 5K guys that I stick to. I like Ankrum. I like Howard. Probably not going to go to Gray. Probably not going to go to Danny. Probably not going to go to Haley. Probably going to try and stay away from this ugly range. I really don't want to be with the fuel. I don't want to be on any of these guys because this seems like a place where we're going to run into some issues. Doug can run into some issues as well, but I'll take that. Don't mind Hill. Not going to Howie. Greenfield as well. They're in there. Taylor Gray. I said I didn't like him. I'll give him a B based on the truck he's in. I see him probably, if he can keep it green, he'll probably finish 15th, 14th, so we got to keep him in there. Jennifer Joe Cobb, not doing it, not doing these guys. Sam Mayer need to consider just because I think there's a chance he can easily work in the optimal lineup. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So half the field's in play. If you take out the D's, probably less than that. You're looking at a player pool, at least in my opinion, of like 14, 15 guys. I think a lot of lineups are going to end up using some of these guys here. And this is I am concerned about this range here. They are worrying me a ton. I don't like this at all. I would try and avoid these guys like the plague. I know they're going to fit. I know they're going to want to fit in the lineups, especially like Boyd or Chris Wright or even Tanner Gray, even Danny Bowen to an extent. But I really don't want to be there. I'm going to try and avoid this range, and that's basically it. If you like what I did here, if you want to support me, like I said, the links are in the description below. You can join my Patreon. Projections will be up later tonight, and I might be live tomorrow. I probably will, but with Thursday Night Football, who's going to watch? It's going to be like 12 guys. Let me know if you want to watch the live show. If not, we might even talk football as well. just to get some views on this channel. But outside, I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you probably tomorrow when I record the Xfinity Series video when they release salaries for that, and for the Cup Series as well. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.